I see doctors, unfortunately, they just give away their time so freely. Those same doctors are saying, I haven't got any time, I feel drained.
But there's always something underneath that, Jamie.
Yes, of course. And that's a whole mindset issue. And
why do intelligent, capable people still not do what they said they were going to do?
we all have 24 hours in the day. So when people say I haven't got time for that, what they're really saying is just not important enough to you.
I used to be the most time-efficient person, but for some reason I've sort of lost it over the way.
And that's particularly relevant with doctors because you're supposed to be going home at 5 o'clock and you're going home at 8 o'clock.
Why do people do that?
Why do people do that? Well, there's all sorts of different reasons. If you're a doctor who feels there must be more than simply getting through the week, you're not alone. This podcast is about reclaiming control over your time, money, and direction. And if any of that resonates, I would invite you to subscribe and join us. Enjoy the episode.
So, Jamie, today we've decided to talk about time. Time and the use of time. I'm going to confess again. God, I'm going to come across as sounding like a completely useless person to these people that listen to this podcast. You know, not too keen on goal setting. And now I'm going to say I'm not that great with time. So interestingly, I just wanted to put this to you. Back in the day, I used to be absolutely fantastic with my time. I used to literally be the most time efficient person. And I think actually when you're a parent as well, you become quite efficient with time, don't you? Because you've got to be places, you've got to do things and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason, I've sort of lost it over the way. And we talked about goal setting in a previous session. And I think actually with my time management, there isn't the big why there, or there's sort of overwhelm, etc. But I know that you are really good at this, aren't you? You're really good at managing your time. Tick tock, tick tock. So I was going to invite you really to talk about it. You could even talk about your journey with timekeeping.
Yeah, no, no, thank you for saying that. I think it's a really important topic, and this is something that we don't really talk about. And if you compare it, let's compare it to money, for example, just for the purpose of opening up this conversation. You're a certified money coach, and you're talking about people, the money that comes in, and reducing the leaking bucket, the expenses, really looking at what money is going out and seeing whether we can get to the point where we are starting to have that little bit of reserve every month so we can use that money then to invest. Okay. So what you're doing there is you're saying, right, money, this is an important asset. If that money goes, it's going to limit your options and potentially your quality of life or your standard of living or what you want or your time, et cetera, et cetera. And therefore, the onus is on you to be able to protect that money that you have and develop a healthy relationship with them. Okay?
I
You
do.
with me so far?
Yes, but you missed one thing, which I think is actually really important in this, is that you said so you can have a little bit of money to invest. Actually, primarily and most importantly, the little bit of money that you put aside is to keep the reptilian brain, the monkey brain, from going crazy for a feeling of kind of safety, and it's that buffer, right? The peace of
Right,
mind
okay,
buffer.
a piece of mind buffer. Okay,
But I think that's important
no, that's very important.
because it's to keep you calm.
Yeah, okay, fine. But I think most of us recognize that actually we all want, well, some of us have got a different relationship with money, but I think most of us can recognize that it's an important asset. You can't ignore it. Okay.
Yeah.
I consider time actually more important than that. Okay. Because time is, you can do anything you want in your time. We're all born into this world exactly the same.
Yeah.
Admittedly, some of us have access to different resources and opportunities at different stages of our lives. But our pathway in life, where we are at the moment, professionally, financially, and with our relationships and everything else, our life circumstances, all relates to what we're doing with our time on a day-to-day basis. And every day we're making these micro decisions, and it's the choices that we make, often without even realizing it, that determines our path.
Yeah. Absolutely agree.
And if you get into a situation where you're using time in a way that serves you most, it is amazing what you can achieve in your life.
Yeah,
But conversely, if you're using time in a way that is not serving you and you're wasting it away, then sometimes it's very, very difficult to get ahead.
can't deny that.
Okay. Now, the difference being the reason why I say time is the most important thing that we have, and that we really need to lean into this and really highly respect time as much as possible, is because it's the only thing that we can't get back when it's gone. So
Correct.
how many people do you hear that they're setting their goals? We talked about goals before. In 10 years' time, I want to achieve that. I want I want a nicer house. I want to pay off the mortgage. I want to go on beautiful holidays, etc., etc. I want to do this. I want to do that. Everyone's got all these plans, and 10 years later, they're stuck in exactly the same position as they were 10 years before.
Mhm.
Okay, you can argue. Well, I would like to, if anyone's in that situation, I'd like to explore exactly what they do with their time on a day-to-day basis.
So the question that you're asking is, why do intelligent, capable people still not do what they said they were going to do?
Well, yeah. So what you're saying there is, why are they not using time in the best way possible? Because every single minute of the day,
Mm,
you're going to be doing something or not doing something.
mm,
Okay. Now, this is really useful when it comes to goal setting, because if you're setting a goal, so if you're
mhm,
not setting any goals at all,
mhm,
and we've spoken about goals before,
mhm,
then you're spending all of your time just being reactive to your environment around you. And that's
mhm,
particularly relevant with doctors, because doctors spend a lot of time, effort, and energy on what I would call low value tasks. So these are admin tasks. These are, for example, let's give an example where there may be a system inefficiency in the NHS, for example. Let's supposing the hospital organisation brings in an electronic healthcare record system, but they don't give any admin support. And as a clinician, you're trying to do your best. You're trying to navigate the system the best you can, and it's going home time, but you really feel that you need to get this system better because it's too inefficient at the moment, and it's just going to make everyone's life better if we get it sorted. Lo and behold, 2 hours pass, 3 hours pass, or even maybe you're a GP and you've got a certain workload. You got this GP contract. Everyone needs a plan at the end of the day for all the urgent referrals that come in, and you're supposed to be go home at 5 o'clock, and you're going home at 8 o'clock, right? Okay,
mhm.
so I'm not saying whether people. I'm not saying people should just like literally at 5 o'clock going home time just go home, but one has to recognize the opportunity cost of that time spent, what I would say, over delivering. Okay, because when I say over delivering, it's not a emotional thing. You're working more than your contracted hours are paying you to do so.
Why do
You-
people do that?
Why do people do that? Well, there's all sorts of different reasons. I suppose the first thing people can explore is how much of it needs me to stay on versus how much of it am I choosing to stay on? Okay,
Mhm,
because if we're a GP partner, for example, and if we're not compliant with the new GP contract, and the only way to become compliant with of the GP contract is to actually meet your targets, meet your workload,
mhm.
and if not, you could potentially lose your practice. We've had conversations with GPs about this before. It's
We
very
have.
difficult. You can't just say no, right? Okay, so it's all very well people say no, stick to your boundaries. Well, that's not possible in that situation. I suppose at that point, you say to yourself, okay, well, uh, this is what's costing me at the moment. I'm working 3 hours extra in the day,
Mhm.
and that 3 hours, instead of spending it on getting through the workload, which I'm not going to be remunerated for, I could spend that maybe 1 hour doing the gym and actually working on my health related goals. I could be spending 1 hour with my kids. reading a story at bedtime. I could be spending 1 hour maybe looking at my finances, etc. Right? Okay. So, so I think in that people in that situation, they just can't say no. Well, then the thing then is to say, okay, well, what can I change right now, and what can I set a goal up in the future that this is not going to happen? Because I need to protect my time in the best way possible, because my time is my time, and it's the most valuable asset I have. And I know that if I need to achieve my goals, if I want to get on with my life and I want to aspire to do the amazing things in my life, because you only get one life, you don't get one after, depending on what you do, what you believe in, but you only get one life. And if I want to give this life the best stab that I've got, then I need to be really laser focused of how I spend my time.
So we're talking about boundaries.
Well, it looks like we've come on to the topic of boundaries. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Because that's what it is, isn't it? Setting a boundary
Well,
is
it is. Well, it's setting boundaries. So that's one thing. But there's other things as well. Let's. Yeah. Okay. We could extend the conversation to beyond the fact that we are living in a world of distraction as well at the moment.
well,
And
this is the thing I was going to say as well, is because where, let's say, for instance, use of time. So tell us a bit. I tell you what. Let me ask you this: how do you structure your diary?
so it's interesting. So I structure my diary. What I do is I time block everything. And it drives my wife Emma mad, okay? But there's a method in the madness, okay? And I know it drives people mad, or it drives her mad. I don't know why, okay? I like to have everything laid out every single day. And I allocate my diary into 30-minute time blocks. When I'm working on and I think this is important, because just to put things into context, I'm still working a 10 PA NHS contract. I'm doing all the work that we're doing with Medics in Control. I've got an investment portfolio. Last year, won a 100-kilometer ultra marathon. A few weeks ago, I ran the Brighton Marathon, and I'm already training for another ultra marathon. I've got kids that I spend time with. I take my boy to Tottenham home and away games. Okay, so I spend a bit of time with them as well. And overall, I feel that I've got a really balanced and enriched life.
Okay, good.
Okay. Now, the only way I can achieve that, and I know this, is to be really, really anal with what I say yes to and what I say no to, and how I spend my time. So, what I do is I get my diary out. I plan my day from 8 o'clock in the morning
Hmm.
all the way through to bedtime,
Hmm.
or actually earlier, from when I wake up to bedtime.
Hmm.
The first thing that goes into that diary is my commitments.
Okay.
So, for example, I speak to my wife and I say, right, what do I need to do with the kids today? Can you
Hmm.
pick them up from school at 4 o'clock? Yeah.
Today or
No.
this week? How far ahead are you?
Well, usually for us, it's on a day-to-day basis. It'd probably be better to be on a weekly basis, but
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. She said, right, Jamie, could pick the kids up at 4 o'clock. Fine, that goes in the diary. Right,
Yeah.
4:30, I'm picking the kids up.
Yeah.
What else do you want me to do? Oh, I need you to. Well, we've got an arrangement that I help out in the mornings. My wife gets them out of bed, and I give them breakfast, and I spend
Right.
time in the morning with breakfast. So that goes into the diary as well.
Okay.
I make sure that I put my because I'm a marathon runner. I
Uh-huh.
train every day. I put my training into that schedule as well.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, when it comes to work related stuff, I work on up to 1.5 hour time blocks.
Okay.
Okay. So, medics in control, I'm going to spend maximum every single day 5 times 1.5 hours, which is 7.5 hours. And I am going to spend 1.5 hours doing something related to medics in control. This
Uh-huh.
is this is when I'm not working in the NHS. Okay,
Yeah.
NHS days are different. When I'm not working in the NHS and I have a day off, then it's 1.5 hour block. May start at 8:30 till 10, and then after that time, I pull myself away.
And is each of those blocks, has it got a agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I do is Every single day, I say, right, what are the 2 or 3 things that must be done today? What are the most important things that must be covered today?
Okay.
And I start with those. So I've got my priority list, maybe have 3 things on my list that have to be done today. And
Mhm.
you can listen, when you're starting a business, you could do like anything, but I've got to be focused on what do I need to achieve today? And that relates to goal setting. We've spoken about goal setting already. And then I'm going to plan my time out, looking at what my other responsibilities are already in that, they're already locked in the diary. My running's locked in the diary. My meditation's locked in the diary. Everything's locked in the diary beforehand. It's actually the work, the business work, which comes last. Because all of the other things I recognize are important. Because if I don't do that and I put work first, then the most important things, which are family
Mhm.
and my own personal health, they get neglected. And actually, that's the wrong way to look at it. For me, my health comes first, my family comes second, and everything else comes third, which
Okay.
a lot of us don't do. So, what the point I'm trying to make with this is that I'm going to do a maximum of 7.5 hours a day. Now, if you think about it, we are probably awake for 16 working hours in a day. Yeah. So if you have 8 hours, is that 16 hours? 8 hours sleep a night. So I schedule 8 hours sleep a night. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I make sure that I don't do any, I'm not on a computer screen or a phone at least an hour before bedtime as well.
Mhm.
Okay. We say that everyone says that they're time poor. But if I'm getting 7.5 hours in a day and I'm having breaks around that time as well. So if I work an hour and a half block and I pull myself away, I will go for a walk for half an hour or I'll meditate for half an hour, I'll do something else. But the point is I'm not with a phone, I'm free from distraction and I'm just free to just unwind. Because the other thing as well when it comes to time management is we've only got a certain amount of headspace as well.
Mhm.
So if I am, so I've fallen into this trap many times where I'm so engrossed and I'm so passionate about this work that we're doing, and I could spend hours and hours and hours on this without a break.
Mhm.
And I may work 10 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours in a day on medics in control.
Mhm.
I know that doesn't serve me because I'll go to bed. I won't be able, my mind will be so overactive. I won't be able to sleep. And then I wake up the following morning and I'm exhausted and I can't do anything properly the next day. So I know my limits. So I think that's important as well. But the point I'm trying to make is if you are planning your time meticulously by time blocking, where you're justifying every time block. I use half-hour time blocks. You could use hour time blocks. It doesn't really matter. But you're putting the most important things into that time diary first. You're planning your breaks, you can achieve a lot more with your time than you think.
Mm. I get that. So what I'm hearing is huge amount of discipline.
There is, but I know. So again, we talked about goal setting. We talked about a strong why.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
I don't do this, if I don't work in this way, I'm not going to achieve those goals that I've set myself in a few years'
I
time.
get that. I get that. And I suppose, and I know that you're very good at this, but I suppose the thing that interests me from my perspective around this
Mm.
topic is what happens when we don't follow the structure that we've created. So, for instance, it's like saying, what does the diary represent to you? Now, I know I could probably make a huge guess to you that your diary represents freedom to you. Whereas I know for others, a
Mm.
diary like that would look more like a prison sentence. Yeah, it
Okay.
would look. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well, we're all different, so that's
No, exactly. And
yeah.
I think that sometimes is where the real looking at it and seeing how it presents itself to you is where the
Mm.
real information is. Because when we're talking about time management, we're not talking to people who are experts in time management. We're talking to people who aren't, right? Aren't we? Or
Well, well,
do you know anybody that hasn't thought about
this is
it?
really interesting itself. You talked about experts in time management. I don't think anyone has ever had a conversation. Oh, yes, I'm an expert in time management, and yes, because we don't talk about time management in healthcare. It's all
Oh, okay. Don't you?
No, we don't. And then
See, John, it's so
this is the point I'm
interesting.
trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is I see so many doctors, and this is the, I suppose, the main message I've got from this podcast, and the reason why I want to talk about it. I'm really passionate about this as well. Is I see doctors, unfortunately, there's a reason for it. I get it. It's probably a mindset issue. They just give away their time so freely. And it
Well,
frustrates me because those same doctors are saying, I haven't got any time. I feel drained and I haven't got
yeah.
any
But,
headspace.
there's always something underneath that, Jamie, and I know this because it's like you're not you give away your time because you're avoiding the task that you know that you really should be doing, and maybe are you then the next question is really, am I avoiding the task that I really should be doing, or am I avoiding the feeling that comes up that the task brings up? And that's where the fear,
Mm,
perfectionism,
right.
rebellion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, that's
Overwhelm.
important. I mean, that's a very important. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a really important topic because yes, of course, and that's a whole mindset issue. And listen, I've had the benefit, and you've had the benefit of doing lots of mindset related work. And I think for me, the most important thing that anyone can get a tap into is mindset related work.
Absolutely.
Because as you quite rightly said, there is a fear of judgment from other people. Those fears
Exactly.
are real. I still
Yeah.
get those fears.
Yeah.
There is a fear of failure. The culture of medicine is you have to avoid failure at all costs,
Yep.
and learning to embrace
Being
failure,
judged.
all very easy to say that, not so easy in practice. You have to keep practicing that, and you have to keep telling yourself, failure, I need to embrace it, but it comes over time. It's a skill
Yeah.
that has to be practiced over time. And quite understandably, we don't want to be challenged. Our brains don't want to be challenged. And even now, I have to really give myself a pep talk when there is something. Like, I'll give you an example. Like yesterday, I've never been on Instagram on my entire life. And we decided that one way to distribute this podcast is to start opening up an Instagram account and start posting on it. Okay, the amount of resistance that came up for me, and my brain was telling me at the time, "Oh, you don't need to do that. Why don't you just go and clean the kitchen, or go out for a walk, or go out for a run?" But yeah, you're right. I've got the discipline. And I recognize, well, why am I doing that? And I have to talk myself out of it. And
Mm.
of course, it's very difficult to have a really laser focused use of you know it's very difficult to be really laser focused with your time management if that mindset is not fully understood, and we are allowing our minds to be able to keep us stuck, I
Well,
suppose.
exactly. And it
And that's not derogatory in any way,
no, no, no,
because
no.
this is such a difficult and complex area, and it goes way beyond information
It
and
does,
learning.
I mean, it could be it's so easy to be able to go, well, if we live by our feelings, we'd never do anything. Oh, well, I've got this time box of time, an hour and a half for me to create this presentation, to do something there. And you sit there and you start looking at the screen and you fall into what the word that we use, what is it? Procrastination, right? So you start
Right.
procrastinating. But I think it's easy to sort of just say that. But I think then what we have to do is we have to look underneath that procrastination and what it really means. So it's it can be a form of protection. Um, I always remember listening to somebody talking about there were two types of procrastination. One is where you're protecting yourself from something else, and the other one was that you're just still preparing things in your brain. And so there's a good procrastinate, a positive procrastination and a negative procrastination. But it can also protect you from failing. We just talked about that, protect you from being judged, protect you from discovering that you actually want something, which I always think is really interesting as well.
Yeah.
Protecting you from a next level of responsibility and you don't want
Mhm.
to take on any more responsibility, and also protecting you, and this is like a really big one, and this is horrible actually, from feeling really sad when you can admit how much time you've already lost.
Yeah. Well, I get that as well. I mean, listen, I feel like it's probably one of my strengths, but I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm perfect in this situation. And one of the things we haven't discussed, and it's so relevant, is this thing here. Is the phone. Okay, even though what's amazing about this, because these things are designed to hook our attention and to keep
Yes.
us engaged. It's
Yes.
well known that there's documentaries about it, there's research papers. They are designed to keep us hooked. So when you're combining the fact that you've got something that you're gonna have to do, it seems challenging, you're worried about failing, you're worried about what other people think, all these voices going in your head, and all of a sudden, you've got a nice, easy alternative option. Don't worry about that. Go on social media,
Mhm.
have a break.
Yeah.
You're steam scrolling on social media, and then all of a sudden, you're looking at the clock and 2 hours have gone.
Yeah. No,
We've
I
all
and
done it,
I
me included as well. And
I
even
will be honest with
even
you.
it's not even that. It's even like you send a message to people, like, for example, I might post on LinkedIn in the morning, a couple of hours later, "Oh, let's see if I've got any responses because you
Yeah.
wanna check out who's checked you out and everything el
Yeah.
This it but unfortunately, this is the nature we're dealing with. This is society at the moment,
Yeah.
and society is designed to grab our attention. So if we are and this is why, again, going back to the mindset issue, this is why it's really important to really explore this and to see where in your brain, what voices in your brain are keeping you stuck. Go further. Why are they happening? Recognize the consequence of them keeping you where you are, but also recognizing there's lots of things out there within our environment that are vying for our attention and allowing us the excuse to essentially fritter time away.
I think that's a really good point. And also, ask yourself the questions. It's like, what do I keep saying I don't have time for? I haven't got time for that. Actually look at that. What time, what is it you don't have time for? You keep on saying that. Is it actually true that you don't have time for something? You go, well, I don't have time for that.
Well, no, I mean, you got time for anything if it's important enough.
Exactly.
We listen. We all have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've all got exactly the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So when people say I haven't got time for that, what they're really saying, and I'm sorry to be harsh about it, it's just not important enough to you.
Well, and also, what are you avoiding by staying busy doing something that's what
Yeah.
you
Okay. So what is so you could argue it's not important enough for you, or your mindset is keeping you small.
yes. So what am I pretending is that urgent so I don't have to face what's important? So, i.e., keeping you small. But I think this is let's do a positive question.
Mm.
And I mean, I've created some very useful habits, little ones, but useful ones. Like, for instance, I wear these retainers on my teeth every night. I can't go to bed now unless I've got them in. Because I've said to myself, no, you've got to wear them every night. I got into bed last night and I hadn't put them in my mouth, and it's like that feeling of like knowing that you've got to do something and it feels really good. It
Mm.
doesn't take too long to build. So again, we talked about this, didn't we? Habit stacking, etc.
Mm.
It's like when you actually do the thing that you said you're going to do in the time that you're going to do it, the benefit of that feeling over anything else, I think is focus on that.
Oh, it's massive. I mean, we listen. We run the Doctor's Breakthrough Program,
Exactly.
and the thing that we are saying, and actually, it's a really great point. I'm pleased you brought this up. We're saying we're going to invite you to spend just 20 minutes
20 minutes a day.
a day,
Yeah.
okay, on your own personal development. This is time that is locked in
Yeah.
just for you,
Exactly.
okay? And what you find is once you're doing that on a daily basis, first of all, you recognize how much the needle starts changing in your
Yeah.
favor, and secondly, you start then once you're in that habit, you start seeing 20
Yeah.
minutes a day, that becomes all of a sudden 2 hours a day, which becomes 6 hours a day, which then becomes the whole day, where you have a complete breakthrough with how
Yeah.
you manage your time.
Yeah, and I think, we've all seen that, not just the doctors on the program, but you and I, we've seen it as well. I know I've seen it. I've definitely seen changes in the way that I am and the things that I'm doing and the work that I'm working on, and noticing the wins and being kind to myself and recognizing my self-trust in certain areas, my possible lack of self-trust in other areas. I'm not it really is just by taking those small wins, and I think that's actually a really good thing to think about ending on now, isn't it? In
Mm,
that 20 minutes a day. If you're not great at time management at the moment, or you haven't even thought about it, hasn't even come onto your radar, how about giving yourself 20 minutes a day to even just sit and think about it, if that's all you want to do,
yeah.
and see what comes up?
Mm,
Because there are always going to be things that come up, and I think it's so easy for us to beat ourselves up when we don't. I think it's an interesting one with time. I mean, I remember working with this American lady. She used to talk about how she used to diarize meetings with her husband, and I was like, "Oh God," it's like it's a funny thing. I don't know. I still feel a little bit prison like, but I also can see the benefits of the freedom as well, and experience that as well. So I think really have the question. Maybe start with your 20 minutes a day of saying, what does your diary represent to you?
mm.
Maybe that's a place to start, and
Yeah, I think
actually
so. Yeah,
find
yeah,
out whether it does
yeah.
set up as a prison or freedom to you, and that would be the first thing to start out with.
Well, it is, and what's interesting there, just to add to that is, listen, we've run the Doctor Reset Sprint a few times. It
Mm.
sounds easy.
Yeah.
20 minutes a day sounds easy.
Yeah.
It's not so easy in practice, and
No.
there's a lot of colleagues that have done our sprints who, for whatever reason, they can't seem to get that 20 minutes. I think if you set out the intention and it doesn't happen for whatever reason, very easy to beat yourself up.
Yep.
But actually, the best thing to do in that situation is to first of all give yourself grace,
Yeah.
just acknowledge yourself, be compassionate towards yourself as well. Give
Yeah.
yourself that grace. And then that's probably where the work starts. And that's to start exploring, okay, fine. I haven't done my 20 minutes a day. Now, the question is, why is that the case?
Yeah, be curious around
Okay,
it.
be curious. Why has that happened? Okay,
Yeah.
there will be a reason for it.
Mm.
And start with that. And if you and you can combine that. And one of the things I'm a big advocate of as well is journaling as well.
Yeah.
Really journaling just to write down your thoughts and your feelings at the time, because we talked about mindset. Sometimes this is a great way to tap into that mindset issues, and to start becoming and to start questioning certain things, particularly the way we think and the way we act, etc. Because you and I know that is our thoughts relate to our feelings, and our feelings relates to either to our actions or inactions.
Mhm.
So that would probably be a great place to start, I would think. 20 minutes a day.
Mm. Mm. And your diary, putting it into your diary is a way of showing yourself that that's what you're committed to.
Mm,
And how you do something is how you do everything. I don't necessarily agree with that on every front, but in many fronts, I think it is true.
yeah, and I suppose if you've got a shared diary as well, then you've got your you've got
God.
your partner, spouse to keep you accountable. And actually, we've seen that work as well, haven't we? In fact,
Mhm.
one
Yes.
of our current Doctor Breakthrough program participants was actually saying that. They're saying, "Look, they struggle to get their 20 minutes in a day."
And doing it with their
And
partner. Yeah,
what's
absolutely.
music to my ears when their spouse said, "It's your 20 minutes a day. Off you go."
Yeah. Go on. Go on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, this is the thing. It's like sometimes we just have to, if we really want to do something, it's like for me, my health and my fitness is front and center at the moment. And it would have been so easy for me to get in the car this morning. But I set the time in my diary to allow myself the time to walk to my destination.
Yeah.
And it would have been I was right in the middle of writing a letter to my daughter about something. And I could have stayed there for an extra 10, 15 minutes to finish it off. But I went, if I do that, I'm not going to be able to walk. And that's what I committed to. That's what's in the diary. Go. And I
Mm,
walked. And it felt great. Not only did it feel great that I followed my diary, but it was also that part of self-integrity, but that's another podcast.
Great stuff. Lovely. Right. Let's as we always do, let's finish up with the takeaways from this.
I actually quite like the idea of using the diary to put in your commitments first, but noticing it in a different way, to
Okay.
really notice it as what it is. This is what I'm committed to, and then looking at what you choose to do. I am fearful of by becoming salmon, like constantly going, I've got to do more, do more, do more, do more, like my little minutiae. I need time where I just relax and a little bit of bobbing around on the water sort of time. But I
Yeah.
guess that can be diarised as well.
100%. That's
Um,
what I do. That's what I do.
yeah,
Yeah. Time for yourself. Really important.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pay to just let time slip away.
No.
And I think another takeaway is actually if you want your day to run well, it starts with the evening before, doesn't it?
Yeah. Exactly right. Planning.
Yeah. Well, and getting a good night's sleep. Because the first thing that can sabotage your diary is I didn't sleep well last night because I was scrolling on Instagram till 12:30.
Mm.
Didn't get to sleep until 1 o'clock, and now I'm waking up and I'm feeling tired and I don't feel like it and it's all too hard. Oh well, never mind. Another day will come.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've only got a certain amount of time. And as I said before, anyone can achieve anything they want to within
Uh-huh.
reason. And it's how you spend your time which
Oh
will
yeah.
determine whether you do or don't achieve what you want to.
Yeah. And just because, I honestly, if I was honest, I could say if I died tomorrow, I would be satisfied with what I've achieved in my life. But that still doesn't mean that I just drift.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Fanny, always great chatting. Speak
Lovely to
soon.
speak. Yeah, speak soon. Take care, Jamie.